If Ricoh asks you if you want to play with their new camera, you say yes. This is the brand new Ricoh GR4, a long-awaited successor to the GR3, a camera that I said was the ultimate lifestyle accessory. So, does the GR4 fix the problems with the GR3? What's new? Is it as fun? Is it worth the price? And most importantly of all, does it take great photos? Let's get into it, but first, for clarity, this video is not sponsored by Ricoh. I have this press loaner unit that I get for about 2 weeks and then I send back. No money changes hands and they have no say in what I say. Before we get into what I mean by lifestyle camera and why this is the perfect one, let's recap what we're cooking with here. The Ricoh GR4 is a pocket-sized point-and-shoot camera, but this is not your average dad cam. It's got full manual control, it shoots raw files, and the sensor is APS-C sized, which is the same size sensor that's in the Sony FX30 and the Fujifilm X100VI, for example. Now that means, compared to a lot of other point-and-shoot cameras, we get photos that are more flexible, we get more depth of field, and we get better low-light performance. The GR4 has a 28mm equivalent lens that's fairly wide. It's similar to what your iPhone camera sees, and I think it's perfect for an everyday camera. It's wide enough to take photos of things right in front of you, stuff in your hands, and crowds. The GR4 has a new lens design, by the way, and it's really sharp. The GR3 was already sharp, but this time there's 7 elements in 5 groups, which helps keep things sharper across the frame. One of my complaints about the GR3 was that sometimes it felt a little bit too clinical, and usually more groups in a lens means more clinical, but I think that somehow this lens has more character. It's not a vintage look at all by any means, but it does feel a little bit more full and dynamic compared to last time. It's a subtle change, but I definitely prefer how this new lens looks. I'll be honest, I really don't care about sharpness basically at all most of the time, but I think on a camera like this, it's more important than usual. If you're taking photos very quickly and you're using zone focusing, which we'll get to later, extra sharpness can really help, especially with street photos. And speaking of speed, that's the first thing I noticed about the Ricoh GR4. It's really fast. There's a new processor in here and there is zero lag. It starts up basically instantly, and the menus and image review, they all feel literally instant. I hate lag in cameras. It's one of the reasons that I stayed with DSLRs for so long, and Ricoh have done a really great job at making this camera feel super modern and fast. But it's not just the menu that's quick. The autofocus, which was okay on the Ricoh GR3, is now really, really good. I shoot really quick and dirty at the best of times, and the GR4 somehow kept up every time. If you've ever tried to photograph a poodle and missed focus on 9 out of 10 shots, go ahead and subscribe. I was really surprised with the autofocus here. It's fast and it's also really accurate. It does a super job of grabbing people's faces basically instantly, and I haven't had it accidentally lock onto anybody's hands or shoulders even once. Now, autofocus is one thing, but you can actually be faster than autofocus by using zone focusing, and we've still got the great snap focus feature from the GR3. I have my GR4 set up so that a tap on the screen instantly snaps to focusing at 2.5 meters and takes a photo in one go. At f8, that means that everything from about 2 to 4 meters in front of me is in focus. This works by taking advantage of depth of field, and having a lens that's really sharp makes a big difference when you're slightly off on your distance, helping keep stuff acceptably in focus for much longer. We've also got a new feature on the mode dial, SN, which I was devastated to learn doesn't stand for source priority. It means snap focus priority. Basically, it's built-in zone focusing. It adjusts the aperture automatically to get your zone to work. I haven't had too much time to experiment with it, but if you follow me on Instagram, I'll be posting more about it over there. But aside from the bump in specs, there are some other changes to the camera physically, and some of them are great. First of all, the grip feels way nicer. I don't have a GR3 on hand to directly compare, but there's a lot more of a lip for my thumb to grab onto on the back, and the front grip also feels a bit steeper. And at least for me and my hands, this feels way more comfortable and secure to hold than the GR3 did. We also have a new battery, which is great. I found that the GR4 lasted me a whole day of being out and about taking photos, when the GR3 definitely would have needed a top up about halfway through. We also still have USB-C charging, which is a big thumbs up from me, but right next to the new battery, something that's not quite a thumbs up. That's right, this camera has no SD card slot, just a micro SD card slot. I don't like micro SD cards. I think they're too easy to lose. I think it's annoying that you need an adapter to put them in your laptop, and they're too fragile for me. But the clever cookies at Ricoh knew I was going to say that, and so they've also given us 53 gigabytes of internal memory. And to be completely honest, I never put a card in this camera once. I kind of preferred just plugging it in and using the USB-C to transfer my photos over from the internal memory. Even if I did run a micro SD card, it would probably be as a backup and never leave the camera. For a camera like this, I really didn't mind not having an SD card as much as I thought I would. But more important than that is the photos, which I think look really great, and I'll show you a few tricks the GR4 has up its sleeve in a moment, but there are some other changes that we do need to know about first. On the back, you'll see some small but really welcome changes. The scroll wheel is gone. Long live the D-pad, and that awkward toggle from the GR3 has been replaced with this more normal scroll wheel that also clicks in. All the buttons and dials on this camera feel super tight and have really great clicky feedback, and I know that that doesn't change the way the photos look, but let's be honest, nice buttons spark joy. In fact, that's actually something that the Ricoh GR cameras have always done really well right from the beginning. They're inspiring. Speaking of, if you're not getting inspired by real life physical printed art, I don't know what to tell you other than maybe you should be subscribed to Frames magazine, the sponsor of today's video. Frames is a quarterly print magazine that showcases a really broad range of photography genres. It's definitely got something you've never seen before in each issue, and it's a really great way to get your creative juices flowing. As well as having brilliant photos from amazing photographers, it's also printed really nicely. The paper is stunning and there's no ads halfway through, no listicles about the best camera bags. It's just about the art, and I think that makes it so much more rewarding to read before you go out to shoot. Frames magazine isn't just a magazine though, it's a thriving community where they host talks from some big photographers, events, live streams, all sorts. Filling up your brain with great art is one of the best ways to make better art yourself. And that's why I'm always saying Frames isn't just an artsy magazine for your coffee table, it's an investment in your own art. So click the link in the video description to subscribe to Frames magazine, and make sure you use my code HYDRATED10 to get 10% off. Big thank you to Frames magazine and to you for supporting what I do. But aside from all of those changes, what else is new with the GR4? I did try to run my square lens hood from Square Hood on the GR4, but it seems they've changed the accessory ring, so none of the GR3 accessories that I have on hand will work on the GR4. If that's just so you have to buy new ones, that's kind of not cool, but I think Ricoh wouldn't go to the expense of redesigning the accessory mount without really good reason, and so I'm hoping that we see some updated attachments and maybe some new ones. And the same goes for the hot shoe, which has more contacts than last time, so I'm hoping that we get some more advanced flashes, as well as maybe a detachable viewfinder. Ricoh. There are a few other bonus changes like the improved macro mode if you're into that, as well as a new sensor that's got about 1 extra megapixel, but I think looks nicer. We also get auto brightness for the screen, which is super, and now we get improved 5-axis in-body image stabilization compared to the already silly good Ricoh GR3's 3-axis stabilization. Specs aside, I don't ever think that the selling point of the Ricoh GR3 has been how powerful it is or how many megapixels it's got. I think it's been how fun it is to use and make art with. I said the Ricoh GR3 was like the Mazda Miata of cameras, and I think that the Ricoh GR4 is like the NB Mazda Miata of cameras. What do I mean by that? Well, it's still charming and fun, but it feels like a much more capable camera. There's extra speed, there's a noticeable bump in low light performance, and the very saucy lens makes me want to take this camera everywhere even more. I think the photos from the new sensor and lens combo definitely still have that signature Ricoh GR look, it's just nicer. There's more sharpness, dynamic range, and the files are noticeably more flexible. Personally, I'm not a super big fan of the modern and contrasty look that the Ricoh GR cameras tend to have. That's a personal preference thing, but of course you can edit them to look however you want. Or you can just skip the editing and use this preset that I made. It's specifically for the GR series, and it takes the photos and gives them a bit of magic sauce. There's a link in the pinned comment. Now, I do wish this camera had two things it doesn't have. One of them is a built-in flash. I want to be able to take photos wherever and whenever I am, and the only way to do that is if I carry an external flash with me. They don't quite fit in the pockets the same way, you know? The second thing is more niche, I'll admit. I want a monochrome sensor. maybe that's just me. Personally, I'm not massively concerned with weather sealing since I've never had issues getting my cameras a bit wet anyway, but the GR4 doesn't have it, and I know that that's something that the community has been very vocal about. Not all hope is lost, because what it does have is a new anti-static sensor coating, which might help with dust. But I think most importantly, the thing that the Ricoh GR4 does so well is it just demands to go everywhere with you. It's like a puppy, except like it doesn't pee on the floor. It's so easy to have this camera in your shirt pocket or even literally in your hand all of the time and just take photos of everything. You basically never need to use two hands with the GR, and I think that that's quite important. It never gets in the way of you living your life and experiencing things. It's never photography first, beach with my friends second. With the GR4, documenting your life becomes effortless. It's also a great visual diary because you can just spin a dial, stick it on auto, and hand it off to your mum or your 12-year-old. They'll be able to also take great photos with you in them with this camera, and I think first and foremost, a camera should be a good memory making tool, and this is that. Overall, I think the Ricoh GR4 is a perfect example of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Everything that they've changed was thoughtful, careful, and precise, and they've kept all the stuff that made the GR series so great. I think we're so used to yearly release cycles from big brands where they drip feed us features from the higher end models and gimmicks that no one really cares about, and I think that Ricoh deserves a pat on the back for not playing that silly game and giving us a thoughtful and substantial upgrade after the GR3 has had plenty of time on the streets. I'm really looking forward to seeing what people make with theirs when they've got them, and I'm really not looking forward to sending this back. Ricoh, I want one. Remember how earlier in the video I mentioned zone focusing and how you can be faster than autofocus? You can do that on any camera, and it's a critical skill to get faster at snapshot photography. So watch this video where I'll teach you how to do it. Stay hydrated and create art.